Good morning everyone, Taco here. I return to you with a project I might revisit the concept of down the road. I have taken this model on Thingiverse and remodeled it to be poseable, sort of. Credit to the original creator, okay then, for this model you can download and make yourself on Thingiverse. If you'd like to make my model instead, you can find mine in the Make tab of the models page, but I'd prefer if you gave some love to my new MakerWorld profile, just by searching Imaginary Taco and looking in the Users tab. You can also find a Sans amiibo I remixed. Going to MakerWorld instead supports my profile and costs nothing for you. You might also notice a part of the endo looks off. That's a modeling mistake and will be fixed when this video releases, so apart from some things to be explained through the video, let's get on to the actual content. So there are holes in the footage where I forget to record something, but the process is pretty straightforward. I started off by sanding the rough areas of the endo pieces, which wasn't even that necessary since you won't even be able to see them that much. If you're making this, you won't have to do this part if you don't want to. To sum it up, it took 120 grit to get a majority of it smooth, then wet 400 grit to finish it off. Here you'll see the before and after of this part. Next, we jump to the endo head, which not only did I sand most of the rough areas down, I also added Bondo. Make sure when you sand it down, add extra coats, and sand until satisfied. And just repeat that process till you're satisfied. Next, we go to the spray painting. Very basic stuff, just some metallic Rust-Oleum. I barely didn't have enough. Might have overdone it on the endo head, which might explain it. Make sure you get all angles, and some parts probably don't need to be sprayed since they'll be covered. Now to the fun part. We get to take those pegs and fit them in between the endo pieces and their parts and glue them together. If you have a soldering iron, I highly recommend using this instead. This method can get really annoying really fast, especially if you don't have the protective equipment, because newsflash, burnt filament doesn't smell good, nor does it feel good when the smoke gets in your eyes. Honestly, not sure how my vision is still 20/20. Get a mask. They're fine at the $20 range, and you're investing in your health. Cheaper than a medical bill. This is all assuming, though, that you have a soldering iron. If you can't seem to get the pegs through the holes and don't have a soldering iron, you can invest a bit in one. It's in the $10 to $20 range, or you can turn a sheet of sandpaper into a roll and go wild. If you're using glue, put some of the pegs before you put it through. If you're melting it, you can sneak in between the shell and the endo to put melting filament on the endo piece to the peg, as long as you don't want it to show. Rinse and repeat with all of the pegs. Something to disclaim, make sure with the waste piece that you leave lots of space for the peg because mine broke and caused many issues. Now on to the fabric. I believe the left is mustard yellow and on the right side we have rifle green. I got these from a semi-local fabric store. These colors were about what I saw the most from Plushtrap, while also thinking about what colors he would be without the dirt. So it would have been pretty useful to see the whole process of me putting the fabric on, but I didn't record it, so let's run through it. I started by laying the fabric out. Next, roll apart in the fabric to get a gist of how much fabric you need. Cut out the general shape of the fabric being used. Spray it with a can of tacky spray glue and re-roll the part through the fabric. Pinch the seam, cut the excess of the meeting sides, and most of the fabric that goes past the edges of the model. Spray small concentrated areas with the spray glue and press them into the inside of the model. If there are holes, use your preferred means of piercing and cutting the fabric, still leaving some fabric on the edge. And repeat the process with the edges. Do this for all the parts, and there you go. And you can do basically the same thing with the secondary color. You can take the torso and ears and lay the other fabric on top of where the secondary color would be, and take a black marker and trace on the green fabric the shape it would be. When done tracing, cut it out, spray glue on the surface with the marks, flip it and put it in place. Make sure you get the orientation right because obviously one side is not going to be the same as the other. I almost made that mistake myself. Once dry, cut out the withered areas, but don't worry about pinching edges. If you don't want to, rinse and repeat, and you'll have the secondary color. This is the final product. To do the finishing touches, take some brown and darkish green spray paint and dust all the parts with it, don't make the same mistake I did by getting the eyes and teeth with it. I was in a rush here and didn't think too much about it. But once complete, this is the final product. Huge disclaimer, the biggest one here in fact. Here, he is so incredibly top heavy he doesn't even stand up straight. If I'm bored enough, I might make a tightenable ball joint socket mechanism because his joints wear out too fast. And if I have the tightenable one, then I can have a varying tightness to it so it wearing down won't make much of a difference. If you'd like to try it, please do so. I might even use that and remake him or do some serious Frankenstein work. But again, not feeling it. At least not for now. So if you followed along with this wanting to make your own, I'll have a link to the files down below. And I hope you enjoy making this as much as I loved for it to be finished, because I've never done anything like this before. Thank you so much for watching this, as this genuinely was a great build for me, having learned so much in the process, and I hope you have a blessed rest of your day, and good night.